Hello, gamers from around the world. This is Boxenberger, the video game enthusiast from Germany, and I would like to welcome you to today's episode of the World of Gaming. And you can already tell that we had a lot of fun in the green room because of a special guest we have today. Gas is here. Welcome, man.
Hi. Thanks for inviting me on this shit week with shit news. Fucking sake, man. Fuck. It's like, did we decide like when it's gonna be a shit news, we're gonna be having a shit week? Yeah. I'm gonna invite Gaz, the time where he's just ready to prolapse and
in my defense, I did ask you before we even knew that the CMA was gonna.
This is quite. It's been in the work for so long. Yeah, so, I'm sorry. It's been so hard to get it.
No problem, man.
And then you did it an hour later as well than your normal time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't give a shit. Fuck you.
Fuck you too. And wondering, Dutch, at least you're bringing some glass here with the suit today.
yeah, a little bit of class. Not too much class, though.
Yeah,
not too much class.
good, man. So yeah, I guess because of what happened this week, we had to rate this show or give this show an adult rating on YouTube. So let's see what YouTube will do with that. And but guys, let me also welcome you all in the chat. I see a lot of familiar names here. Great to see you, that you guys tuned in an hour late than usual, but we're still gonna have a blast, and of course we're gonna talk about all the things that happened with the CMA this week, but we also will have a couple of other cool topics. We will talk, of course, about the new trend that seems to be handhelds in gaming and the Asus ROG. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Sony and Square Enix and what they allow and don't allow Xbox to do. We will talk about Xbox and ABK's earning report, about Jedi Fallen Order, and much more. But first, of course, we got to talk about our games of the week. So, Dutch and Gas, what have you guys been playing?
Guess what I've been playing? I know your ponies are watching this. You Forza's still the king of races, you cocks. I knew exactly what I was doing. I'm such a genius. I was telling my friends, I said, watch what? I'm going to make this sick edit. I'm going to say Forza's king, and you watch the ponies. And I bet you one of them will share my time played Forza. Because I even said this so many times on my shows. I fell away from the Motorsport series in favor of the Horizon series. But the calculation was amazing because now they're on my case. I'm playing Forza Motorsport 7, and it's the king of races. It's the king of races.
Sweet.
But, yeah, I was playing that. It was really good. I've been playing a variety of different things. So I need to get Resident Evil out of the way. But I was playing that. Got my Steam Deck dusted. Got the dust off that. This is a kids show. I can't say that kind of word. Basically, I dusted off that Steam Deck. Getting ready for handheld gaming with Zelda coming out. It's gonna be mad. But then we've got this bad news. Well, it's reviewed well. Star Wars Jedi Survivor. I was ready for that. So we've been playing all sorts, man. But I'm trying to get rid of my single player backlog. But Forza is like, I'm just going to commit to Forza because actually, once you play that, then I'm like with Forza, like the Horizon series, I'll just spend ages playing it. The last Forza Horizon was the last. Why am I talking so much? Shut the fuck up, guys. No one cares. This segment, no one gives a shit about. There's just no one cares what any guest is playing. No one cares. And no one.
I'm not sure.
Cares.
I know the chat usually cares, but usually we have a lot of people posting what they are playing. So I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that, man.
I'll be playing Dead Island as well. Sorry, that a lot of that. That's really good. And playing co-op. By the way, it's one of those where the reviews done. Oh, I never played the first one, so I get it. I was like, and the reviews are middling, like 74. Played it with beautiful game. This is what happens when we have low expectations or no expectations. Beautiful game.
And I hear nothing but good things.
Gameplay's basic, but it's fun.
Everyone who played it actually says it's just fun. And so
it's really good.
I need to give it a try when I have a little bit more time. Yeah.
Time is fucked. This week is crazy.
Crazy.
I was at work with the craziest shit going down. The CMA stuff is there. J-Dub is shitting on my chest. I'm like, what? There's too much madness here. Did not expect the deal not to go through. We'll definitely talk about that. Yeah. The mad week, Dutch's show made me wet. There's so many things going on this week.
Oh yeah, man. We need to talk about this show a little bit, Dutch. Over the weekend, on Saturday, you had the Indie Community Showcase, and it was a massive success, man. 2.5 hours of pure goodness, indie goodness, and my wish list on Steam almost doubled, dude. And it was already pretty long.
I apologize.
Yeah, man.
So many games we didn't know about. You
absolutely.
brought it to my attention, everyone's attention.
Yeah.
Do you know how much you get rated for that?
Yeah.
Boxenberger will give you a hand job.
Now we can't talk about that Dutch and I are going to Gamescom this year, and we already booked the hotel. And
I'll be there. 3-way hand job. Let's do it.
Awesome, man.
I'll be there.
Awesome.
I'll be there.
You already booked your hotel, man?
No, I haven't done it. Are you guys booked it?
Yeah, we booked it. So I'm going to send you in the DM our hotel so you can just...
Hey, man. E3's cancelled. Fuck the Americans, man. Those little shits, man. They got shit. Just fuck you. All Americans go yourself. Yeah. No, I really wanted to go E3. But Gamescom, hey, man. Listen, last time I went was 2013. They had like 350,000 people. And I'm telling you, German women, man, they cosplay. Like over here, everyone looks like they got type 17 diabetes when they cosplay. Don't use fucking deodorant. And it's like, that person's definitely going to get a heart failure running around like that. But in Germany, oh my God. Like, me and my mates were just like, what? And it was so good. But if it's like that this year, which I doubt it will be because that was just before the start of last year. I'm sorry, I'm talking so much right now. It's like I've done a line of coke. But it's like, basically, it was so lit. It was so lit. German people are so nice. And the whole of Köln, my German friend told me.
Huh?
Köln.
It's Köln.
Köln. Was really like the whole city. The whole the city was just gamified.
It is. They expect around 400,000 people this year.
No, are you serious?
I'm serious, and it's the second largest trade show in the world over all industries.
Really?
Yeah, it's gonna be massive, man.
Oh, boys. We are going to be doing coke off each other's ass. It's going to be so good. It's going to be so good.
It's going to be awesome, man. Like, we have, from Tuesday to Friday, and we already, just to make sure, got the public, the tickets for the public days as well. For the press days, they are not up yet. And of course, we're trying to get into the Chef Keely show as well. So, and guys, we need to do a line here. Yeah.
We need to do a line? I'm ready. What line?
There we go. There we go. It's gonna be awesome.
Demonetized.
I think this show is already demonetized, so man.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No problem.
I was expecting we need to make up for the lack of monetization. Not that makes any money, to be fair.
We gotta catch up on the super chats in a minute. But Dutch, how did you do? Were we happy with the results of the community in the showcase? Because the feedback I've seen on Twitter was just absolutely amazing. So how did you look at this?
Yeah, it was a huge step up. Of course, every time we do a show, I just want to improve the quality and try and improve it so it's, should we say, it is more of an actual showcase and doesn't just look like it has been put together by fans. And of course, this time around, added the green screen, which was as high quality as possible. Made sure it was obviously streamed in 2K 60. Of course, improved the audio again over it. Last year's audio sounded like I was standing about 3 miles to the back of the. This year, actually, it was crystal clear. So again, I'm going to improve that again for the next show. But yeah, overall, the biggest feedback we got was the pacing was on point. and it was just well set out. It wasn't loads of talking. It was just a little bit, and then straight back into the games.
It's funny, Dutch
exactly
knows how to do a showcase better than a lot of the big boys. Like,
indeed.
You learned from that, right? Is that what your model was? Like, we've been here, we've complained about it. That needs to be the format, and you executed it beautifully. Well, I think people don't understand, as you're not a content creator, you don't understand how long just that Forza reel. Well, it took me longer than I did to play Forza, but which has changed now. But like, to do that show, it's that long, splice it, and you obviously had to check it after all of that 2 hours. Then this guy did the timestamps as well for each individual game. I'm like, bro, we don't deserve it. And you know what pissed me off? I keep checking it, because that video should be at 50 to 100K. I keep checking it, adding little likes here. Well, not likes, a view counter. I can only add likes once or twice for use the game on daily account, which I did. But it's just like, bruh, that video needs to be at 50 to 100. So the part of me is thinking, well, YouTube is a bitch anyway. But other part of it is like, people always talk about indies, but they don't back up their chat as well. Sometimes I feel like it's like you guys are such pricks, all of you. No, not you guys, but just generally, I just feel like the show was
the main problem, Gaz, and it's got this. Indies have some kind of weird kind of stigma where they all just think indies are two like little pixel games, and it's like that's not what indies are.
Your show did a brilliant job.
The opening alone, dude. Sorry, the first 3 games, or what it was, it's like, dude, that's not an indie show. It's
everyone. This is a repeat theme during Dutch's show. This is indie? Question mark? Question mark? Question mark? This is indie? Question mark? Question mark?
Yeah.
This is indie? I'm like, how came? What the flip? Which goes to show the paradigm has shifted. These tools that the developers are using, Unreal Engine becoming more like readily available, and we're seeing so many strides with AI. We had Shuei Yoshida come out and say that later, you don't even need to be a programmer to help devise games, bro. I used Midjourney today, and I just like every day, and I'm still shocked at it. I use ChatGPT, like, draft a letter. I mean, obviously it's not perfect, because like, okay, fine, you know, you get paid to draft well. They want to replace the human quality, but just the streamline, pull some information there. Now you're doing it with gaming. We saw a month ago that facial tech with Unreal Engine, where Hellblade, they showed that off. Did it on a phone. Are you fucking crazy, man? This technology is crazy. I am so happy that the balance is being redressed between the AAA space and the indie space, because if you look at the AAA space, by and large, it is completely defunct of original ideas, where the indies opposite. Exactly. And it's beautiful, and that's where the heart of gaming indies is. And it's not me wanking off indies for their 5p. They're like, guys made us feel good. I believe that in my soul, because I'm into games that push the barriers. The sole indie guy is delivering the vision in their head. Have you tried DMT? This is what this game is like. That's the kind of feeling. It's like so vibrant, and
a couple of games to kind of highlight that. One of them, Skate Story.
I love that. Saw it on your show.
Yeah,
I never saw it before. I never heard about Skate Story until your show.
Yeah, and the other one was Angerfoot, which was like
trip.
Yeah, it was Gabba, and then you just kicking things all the time.
That I know. I don't know what that means. Well, damn, what? I heard it from Joe Rogan, but yeah, it is. Like, obviously, you can tell most creators are cracked out. Kojima snorts crack through his ass every day. That's how he comes up with these crazy ideas. But when indie's doing it, it's just so diverse. It's so beautiful. And you did it justice, man. And you delivered a show which not only feels like it was short, even though it's 2 hours long, it was amazing and eye-opening for people in the space, and it sent a message out. Like, this is where it's at, and I hope people just one thing you don't do, just don't market it enough in the proper way. Take clips, send it out. Every game, boom, here. You've got 200, you got loads of clips, push your Twitter out, schedule those. Bro, you deserve 50,000 times more views than you got for that.
Absolutely.
And I believe in my heart. And well done, and keep going. Because Jeff Keighley in the face. That's why. Sorry, I'm really hyper today.
No, absolutely.
If you saw me at work, I was like,
Guess Dutch told me it took him more than 65 hours just for editing. This is not including the time, you need to get in contact with each and every of these developers. Yeah, you have to proof watch it. You have to. The amount of work is crazy, and honestly, besides doing the exactly, you can't even monetize the video, man. It's amazing what you did there, and the production quality is outstanding. Well
done, man.
If anyone has not watched it yet, the link is still in the description here down below. So just click there, and you will find the link directly to the showcase, and put it on your playlist and watch list, because it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible.
Thank you.
Definitely.
So, guys, before we get into, I think, the topic of today, usually, guys, we start with a couple of smaller topics to get into, but I feel like everyone is just... We need to get
start talking about DMT and crack and coke off each other's ass. There's only one way this show's gonna go.
But I need to catch up on the super chats first. So the first super chat of the day comes in from Drawn TJ, our generous friend. He says, "Hey Gas, hi Boxy, hi Dutch. Gas, no sauce."
The fuck does that mean, you bitch? Don't you dare insult me on my show, Drawn TJ. There's always sauce. There's always sauce.
There we
How
go.
dare you insult me?
So, there we go. Pyro Man became a channel member. Thank you so much, man, for the support. Then we have Decado. He sends in a $10 super chat and says, "Money for the F-bombs." There we go. Thank you. Appreciate that. It's good to have a podcast every once in a while where we just curse with everything we got. So there we go. That's the show today. Sith Lord sends in $2 and says, "Wow, Boxenberger dropped an F-bomb. Hi, Gas and Dutch." I see people take notice. Drawn TJ sends in another $5. Thank you, man. He says, "Microsoft needs to pull out of the UK like a bad ex."
I see so much of this. It's like, we'll talk about it.
We will definitely talk about it. And I'm glad I have two lads here from the UK, so you can tell us what kind of shit show you're running over there. And then we have Pyro Man. He says, that's a channel member chat. He says, "Playing Minecraft Legends and Yu-Gi-Oh! Still. So, good on you." I have not tried Minecraft Legends, man. I know I should try it because... Guys, I have 650 hours in H4, so I can't stop playing RTSs. But I don't know, Minecraft Legends. It just does not speak to me, man.
I haven't played it. It's just the aesthetic that kind of pulls me away. The last is it still installed? The last RTS I played was the Dune one, because I love Dune, and it's actually really good. Dune Spice Wars. It's on PC.
Yeah, it was good.
Really good. Pretty hard, man. The freaking management of that, resource management, spice, and then the Solari, it was really tough. Like, really tough. And this coming from a guy who used to play religiously Red Alert 2 a lot. Kirov reporting. I used to play that so much. Not that well, to be fair. And Command and Conquer Generals. I was friends with the European champion on that. But, RTS is if you want to see real geniuses, and look at the champions of these RTS games. They are built differently. Their mind works in ways like... That's what... Actually, the one time I actually realized, I played the Quake 3 world champion. I did really well. He was a world champion. He was really famous, called Sujai Roy at the time. World's first pro gamer or something to that effect. It was 2012 or something like that on Quake 3. And he was like, "Mate, you're good." I was like, "Mate, I have my internet is shit. I can't afford proper broadband, and I'm playing on 999 ping on dial-up, and this is me practicing." Because, "Mate, you should go pro." I'm like, "Are you kidding? Like, you are Asian, and somehow your parents allowed you to do it." He skipped Cambridge. No way my parents would let me do that. They'd beat the shit out of me, which they did anyway. But I don't know why I'm talking about this. Oh yeah, but I was just gonna say RTSs, man. They just, when I was like in this cyber cafe and these guys are playing, holy shit, man, these guys are so hyper intelligent. Their brains are wired differently.
Yeah.
He was like, you're so mad. But yeah, it was Minecraft Legends. Yeah, I didn't play it. So I'm sorry. I can't even focus today.
So
It's been a mad day.
Then let's just get right into this. Obviously, I think everyone knows the CMA blocked the Activision Blizzard acquisition.
Really?
Yeah, it happened, dude. I had no idea, but it happened. So let me just, for those that might have not heard of it, or hang on, before I read the official statement from the CMA, because we were on the topic of Dune, Tronty J sends in a $5 super chat. It says, Dune Spice Wars is a joke. I prefer Dune 2000, and EA needs to get off their butt and make a new Command & Conquer for Xbox. Man, I could not agree more on that.
On the last part, yeah.
Yeah. Which one was Dune 2000? Man, I
Didn't play it.
I probably did not play it. I'm not sure, man. But we definitely need a new Command & Conquer. And Jonas the Dead sends in a $2 super chat and says, got Stellaris with all the DLC after trying on Game Pass. Good, man. That's a fun game. I played that on cloud a lot, actually.
On the nascent market. Nice.
But I am not supposed to support cloud on Microsoft, or at least not Microsoft Cloud, because monopoly, guys. Monopoly.
Yeah.
So the CMA had to say the following. The CMA has prevented Microsoft's proposed purchase of Activision over concerns the deal would alter the future of the fast-growing cloud gaming market, leading to reduced innovation and less choice for UK gamers over the years to come. Microsoft has a strong position in cloud gaming services, and the evidence available to the CMA showed that Microsoft would find it commercially beneficial to make Activision games exclusive to its own cloud game servers. I don't know. Have they even watched what happened over the last months with all the deals? But okay. Microsoft already accounts for an estimate of 60-70% of global cloud gaming services and has other important strength in cloud gaming, from owning Xbox, the leading PC operating system Windows, and a global cloud computing infrastructure, Azure, and Xbox Cloud Gaming. The deal would reinforce Microsoft's advantage in the market by giving it control over important gaming content such as Call of Duty, Overwatch, and World of Warcraft. The evidence available to the CMA indicates that absent the merger, Activision would start providing games via cloud platforms in the foreseeable future. No kidding. They want to put the games on cloud. The cloud allows UK gamers to avoid buying expensive gaming consoles and PCs. It gives them much more flexibility and choice as to how they play. Allowing Microsoft to take such a strong position in the cloud gaming market just as it begins to grow rapidly would risk undermining the innovation that is crucial to the development of these opportunities. So, guys, I know you want to get it off your chest. So let's hear your thoughts. We're gonna talk about the statement from Brad Smith and everything later. But what do you make of this? Did you expect it? How do you feel about this, man? Good.
I expected it. I thought it was good. Everyone wants it. It's better for the industry. What do you want me to say? You, man. There's only okay. I saw a lot of hyperbole on this as well. One thing we can all agree: we did not expect this. I mean, we were pretty bullish about the deal going through.
Yeah.
There's still uncertainties, hence why I always caveated it with let's see. But I was almost sure, so sure. I was talking to Lulu Sheng. I'm like, don't worry, I'll go through. She's like, no, I'm not sleeping today. And then, bless her, she's actually a lovely person. People don't realize. And my timeline on Premiere Pro, CMA approves deal, getting ready to make that video. Boom, it blocked. I'm like, all right, delete. Let me new CMA Blocks deal. New set of thumbnails. The stark contrast between the pictures I took for the thumbnail and the pictures I ended up taking, the video which I'll be working on tonight, was so hilarious. I actually laughed. I was like, this is fucking hilarious. That if the ponies can see me right now, the difference is so funny. You gotta laugh, man. It's like big business being curtailed in such a way. It's intriguing. Now, I see some people are very, as you expect, emotional about this. A lot of emotional discharge on the internet, on Twitter, as soon as it broke through. Corruption! Oh, Sony, they're wanking them off, blah, 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 blah. And I get the anger, I get the frustration, but when you look at it, especially someone in my field, have to pull away the fanboy and the theatrics and look at it on the substance of the matter. Contrast this to the bullshit argument on the console market, because it was bullshit.
Yeah, absolutely.
And which is why I'm so vehemently against anyone. And I mean, even since they claim to be sound, they angled. If you took that position on the console market and you protect and in for the benefit of PlayStation, to me, you're just blinkered as a fanboy. And they might say you're the same, guys. But on that point, did not agree. And like it will, it will. I'm not saying there's no argument on that side, but my personal view is it was so lopsided that this would energize the industry in terms of these competitors in the console space that really need a shock to the system, PlayStation, and this would have given them the impetus to really not play it, safe with the IPs that they're relying on, the money hatching. It kind of would have changed the paradigm. Let them be shook a little. Look at how much PlayStation's dominating. But that's beside the point. The CMA relented on that. They took that view. It's the cloud market, and that one, it's ludicrous to many of us because it's like the market doesn't even exist, really. You're talking, arguments are based on speculative, like crystal ball stuff. The CMA's contention against this was that, well, there's not enough regulation in this space anyway, so we couldn't even, these concessions wouldn't be effective. I'm like, well, is that Microsoft's fault that the industry hasn't moved that far forward? But if you take the view that, well, okay, whilst it's not Microsoft's fault, the reality of it is the industry, when many of us have said it, like we believed in cloud in a few years, that it will change the paradigm. People in Brazil watched it. A lot of people in mobile gaming. This huge in other parts of the world where buying a console is prohibitively expensive. That is a real thing. And that will change, whether 5 years, 10 years, whatever.
Yeah.
That will change. And on that basis, even though it's hard to grasp the substance of it, there is definitely an argument to raise there. But is that enough to cancel this deal? And, the question of that is very interesting. Very interesting. If you believe this 60 to 70% figure, I don't know where they're coming from. But by the way, the difference between 60 and 70% is quite high. So they're like, how are you quantifying this percentage? And you've got such a mad variance. To me, that's a mad variance. But
absolutely.
Who else is in the concept? But you don't have to be rocket science to say, well, Microsoft is the only one taking it seriously. So go F yourself, Microsoft, for actually trying. Google barely tried. They tried, and then they just bowed out. What did they actually do? Luna, Amazon, blah, blah, blah. You could see in a space where Microsoft could dominate, and there could potentially be anti-compete. But we'll talk about whether or not this deal will go through or not later. But that was my view on it. It's like this is an interesting shift in there. I don't hate the CMA for the decision on this basis. But if it was the console market basis, I'd have been like, you guys don't get it. In this one, well, we'll talk about what this future strategy is. I'm like, okay. I'm okay. I'm not okay with it. I was obviously disappointed in it, very disappointed. But I'm like, I'm not pissed because it doesn't seem inequitable, and it's Microsoft.
That's the thing, right?
$1 trillion.
Yeah. I think this was pretty obvious over the last 1.5 years that a lot of the concerns actually come from them being such a big tech giant. We've seen that in the So that's definitely a thing. So before I give my thoughts, Dutch, I want to hear yours. But let me briefly shout out a couple of supers that came in from Tom from Toonami says, what's your opinion of the PM spokesperson saying the government is going to engage Microsoft with the merger and reiterate that the CMA is not the government? I think
that's a weird way to reword that, by the way. I saw the PM spokesman saying that the government, they say they're going to engage it, but that's a weird way of twisting it. They didn't say that they basically responded to the point where Brad Smith was saying that Microsoft UK shut its business to the tech industry.
Yeah.
It's not going to be the Silicon Valley of it, contrary to its representations. And the spokesman obviously came back and say that I think the deal will still go through, by the way. And the reason why, which I've been saying for a long time, is, well, I'm sorry, I'm taking away Dutch's time, but let's talk about what we think in the future later about why this deal may or may not go through.
Yeah. So Phase 23 BKNY sends in a $20 super chat, man.
Face. It's always face. It's always face.
Face.
Keep following me around, face.
yeah, man. He says Microsoft should invest that 68 billion in their 30 studios that they own already, which is more than what Sony and Nintendo have. Xbox already proving they can't walk and chew gum. They don't need ABK. They need better management.
So, you want to tackle that in your funeral outfit?
I've been saying that.
I came dressed as a CMA representative today.
Yeah.
Very appropriate.
I mean, it's pretty obvious that a lot of Xbox managers have been distracted over the last 1.5 years. Definitely felt that way. And at the end, it's what I told you that I think 2 weeks ago on this show. At the end, all that matters is what kind of games and services we have in our hands, and Xbox has not delivered for a long time now. So
don't give it to the same studios who are not delivering. That was there. Let's reward your ineffectiveness with more money.
That would be my suggestion as well. Just get someone else, man. But Dutch, let's hear your thoughts. What did you think after hearing the statement from the CMA?
It's filled with inaccuracies is one of the main one. First and foremost, they stipulated that Microsoft already have a 60 to 70% advantage over the cloud gaming market, which is inaccurate. Considering they're basing that on the Game Pass users or subscriber count. There is no definitive line in there that 30 million Game Pass users use cloud. If they did, that would be phenomenal. But
is that how they're actually pulling their numbers? 60% on cloud subs? Because that's just wrong.
It's based on the Game Pass subscription numbers, yeah, because they're using that as this is cloud gaming. Yeah. So it's extremely speculative, which is why they think they've got grounds for inaccuracy, should we say. It is inaccurate numbers, first and foremost, on that point. Secondly, they also stipulated that Microsoft would use Call of Duty and the Activision Blizzard titles to gain an unfair advantage and would have reason for foreclosure against other markets based on that. And again, we know they don't have any plans to do that because they've already offered contracts to provide Call of Duty on competing services, as well as Activision Blizzard titles and all Microsoft game titles.
They signed deals with literally every cloud gaming service that we have heard or not heard of, except Luna.
Yeah.
So,
aside from that, and to add to it, they went into talking about how, again, the speculative state of it, where the market is, where it is going, and then Microsoft having the infrastructure in order to dominate. The cloud gaming market does not require everybody to build infrastructure in cloud in order to get into cloud gaming. There are 3 major cloud providers, the largest in the world. Google, of course, with their cloud streaming services. You've got Amazon World Service, which, of course, is the largest in the world, which it has the infrastructure. And, of course, Azure. You don't have to build your own infrastructure in order to compete in cloud gaming. You just have to have the service. You then agree a deal with any of the infrastructure giants in order to be able to use their infrastructures to use your service. They could quite easily go to Google for instance, which has proven capabilities, very proven, in fact, so much so that it's better than Microsoft's current model around cloud gaming. It works better. It streams in 4K 60. It streams in 4K 60, so it's obviously much higher quality over Xbox Cloud Gaming, which is 1080p, 720 in some circumstances. So it's obviously a higher produced service. So I think the inaccuracies also stem around the understanding of where cloud gaming comes from and the fact that competitors do not need to have infrastructure in order to compete. They simply need service and be on an infrastructure, whether that be Azure, whether that be, and again, they're saying, oh, well, Microsoft have Azure, so they could use it to compete. Okay, then they don't have to use Azure. Microsoft aren't forcing people to use Azure servers to get a cloud streaming service. They can go out and use Amazon, they can use Google, they can use a multitude of other.
NVIDIA is not using Azure, so.
Yeah, exactly. NVIDIA's using it. So it's littered with inaccuracies around what cloud streaming is and what the market is. They're conflating too much what Azure is and what cloud gaming is. They're kind of going off what Azure's dominance is and automatically agreeing that that is cloud gaming. That's not the case. Yes, Azure is huge. It is the second largest platform in the world for cloud streaming or cloud services. But that's not the cloud gaming segment of Azure. The cloud gaming segment of Azure is absolutely minute. In fact, cloud gaming worldwide is only 2%. It's 2%.
I think it's even less. I read a different number. It was 0 point something. So
whereas VR's 11%.
That's actually my biggest issue with this entire statement of the CMA, because it makes it out to be as if this deal was purely about cloud, which it isn't. Yeah, like you said, it's whether it's 0 point something percent or 2%. So it's really not relevant right now. Like Gas said, we all see a potential future there, but as of right now, this deal is really about mobile. They did not even mention that. Then, of course, it's about PC, and then it's about a console, and that's what the $68 billion are for. Yeah, and
but they did mention mobile. Briefly, but
very vaguely.
There's another thing. And kind of another segment, we'll get into it a little bit further later on, but another segment is, of course, the talking about divestiture and things like that, and I just don't understand the logic behind what they're kind of going into. It doesn't make any sense. You can't, again, divestiture out of the UK, even Activision Blizzard or Microsoft, they're not going to divest out of the UK.
Yeah.
It's too big of a market for them. As much as people like to think the UK is small because it's a small island in comparison to a lot of the markets, the actual market itself that it sells to is significant for Microsoft and Activision Blizzard. Significant. So it's not something that they'll just pull out of it. And it's not even a question of doing that. They've said it from the start that divestiture is an absolute no-go. It's not going to happen.
And it makes sense. It would be stupid to set a terrible precedent to fragment like the industry like that based on region.
It's not even just a precedent. It would take more effort to divest all of the things out of the UK than it would to just drop it entirely.
Yeah.
Like it would take so much more. Like it would cost more than $3 billion to pull out of the UK.
Yeah.
It would. They would have to completely, like, all of the studios they own in the UK, which is a significant amount. Like, we're not just talking Microsoft and like Activision Blizzard here. We're talking about Microsoft.
Well, in terms of divestiture, why do you think the whole division comes out? Why not divest in terms of cloud services in that region?
Well, again, cloud, you can't, like, in terms of it from a technical perspective, how are you going to limit which countries have cloud? Are you just turning the servers off in that nation?
Yeah, I mean, into cloud gaming. I mean, as opposed to
then
pulling out wholesale.
Then you've also got a segment there of you're paying for Game Pass Ultimate, and you've been using cloud, and all of a sudden now you're not allowed cloud. So then, how do you go about reimbursing those people that are paying the same price as other
yeah,
nations.
I mean, technically, it's a minefield. It is.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's not a minefield. It'll be
Yeah.
a logistical nightmare.
Yeah.
But it's potentially possible. But it's not even worth talking about, other than
Yeah,
to
exactly.
say that it's not really on the card.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
everyone's like, pull out the
exactly.
UK, pull out the UK. I'm like, half these guys' pull-out game is so weak. They're probably impregnated all sorts of people, and they don't have sex. But it's just like general. That's a moot point. I agree with you completely.
Yeah.
It's not on the cards. Everyone's saying
Yeah.
pull out or like in a retaliatory fashion. UK is this and that. I'm like, it's just not gonna
I
happen.
think the posturing by Brad Smith's a bit excessive, but at the same time,
I think it's perfect.
Yeah, if they go down,
think it's
go
really
down the
important.
route of going to CAT for this, and I think they will be granted the appeal. To be fair, I don't think they can't not be granted the appeal. There is a grounds for
No.
it, because the grounds is it's completely speculative. It's not a decision based on facts. It's a decision based on we speculate.
When you
the
say
market will be
granted
fine.
appeal as a hearing, or do you mean actually they will
They have
decide
to apply for it, and then CAT has to agree for the appeal.
CAT will agree. I was reading up on the regulate 2015 regs
Yeah.
after reading loads of statutes for work, and I was like, "Fuck this! I'm going to sleep." But I did start reading on CAT and admission of new evidence, and I absolutely will be heard.
Yeah.
It'll definitely be heard.
Like I said, it's based on for them. It's based on purely it's speculative, but it's also inaccuracies. And the main things you can take it to CAT for is inaccuracies in the results that have been provided. If they
There's
feel
also
like
fundamental misunderstanding and misapplication of law, and there's precedent from CAT overturning. I see that a lot. It's like procedural. You don't understand the ambit is wide, and the procedural in terms of it's in there in the regulations. If they fundamentally erred in their understanding and application of law, it can be flopped. It can be overturned. And I think it will be, whether it's CAT or whether it's another angle, which I'll talk about. Not Michael Pachter's angle. Fuck,
I don't know why people always quote that guy.
That guy. I was on him. He was a really nice guy. But even when I was on with Colt, I'm like, what? I even challenged him then. He was like, no. I'm like, this guy's so confident in what he says. But this is the guy I've been listening to for 10 years, and he's been right 3% of the time. Like, and he's on CNBC, and he says it so boldly. I'm like, bro, I swear you said the opposite. I'm like, you were wrong so many times. So Michael Pachter was saying it's going to get done. Look, the real play, I don't think people are, and I've said this for a long time, but now you're really going to see the geopolitical sphere of angle of this. That is why it's so significant. That's why, forget the Xbox, PlayStation stuff. Why I think it would be balmy for this deal. I would be shocked if the deal gets blocked and fails. That you've got at an executive level in the UK, you've got Rishi Sunak, and the day it broke, there were questions about energy companies pulling away from the UK because of concerns of some strikes or something, and like the desperate need to invigorate investment coming in is so palpable. I'm dealing like a deal on a Freeport, government's offering a Freeport like exemptions. There are like so many measures now to invigorate investment, and Rishi Sunak has come out and said that they want UK to be the Silicon Valley in the tech industry. They are desperate. Rishi Sunak would sell his mom for some money. Fuck Rishi Sunak. But anyway, the Rishi Sunak, the Conservative government, they will sell for big business. They will sell for big business hard. That's the Conservative mantra. It is not feasible for a tech giant like Microsoft to make a statement. This is what I'm saying. It's not overzealous. It's all exactly what I was saying Brad Smith needs to say. You need to scare the executive level. They do not want the independent body CMA have decided. Microsoft's strategy is to make calls, lobby hard in the UK and say, hey, look, we're willing to invest in this region, but with this, This is a warning sign. It's a warning shot for anyone in the tech industry to invest in this country. And Brad Smith and Microsoft, the trillion-dollar tech company at the forefront of all this investment in AI, which is going to be a fundamental shift in how societies work with the cloud and all this. And you're telling me the UK, with its market and all, it's doing so bad in all the G5 countries, it can afford to turn away the tech industry. That's the element. I don't see it happening. I just cannot see it happening. And to compound the problem with the wider international play, with what's happening with Japan, with China. Most of my clients are Japanese or Chinese now. There are so much like jostling for power and control in the tech industry. China that seems to be able to dip into our pond and consolidate, yet has a shield around its own region. There are cities in China that have better higher GDP than entire European countries, man. Yeah. So absolutely, I'll be not beside myself. I'll be shocked that the deal gets blocked. You're seeing it already with Congress. Congress already, Microsoft, like they're lobbying. They're like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" They're saying the words China. It's not even freaking Trump. It's it's their Congress. It's like China. What's happening? Japan. Let's put scrutiny on them. Japan quickly, just like
even Brad Smith kind of threatened with the EU, where he said, I have to paraphrase now. He said something like, it's clear for him that the place to invest in is obviously the EU and not the UK anymore. So I do agree there.
That's exactly what he needs to say, because also it's not
it's also fact after Brexit, though. It's fact after Brexit, and and the clients that I speak to, all of their main head offices now are based in Europe. They are not based in the UK like they were. They're not based in London. They are all based in Europe, Central Europe.
I'm working for a Japanese client who is massive. Their headquarters would be in London or the UK, but they're in don't want to say it. Well, Germany is a big country, who cares? But they're there. And loads of companies now. I've said all the time. I have some very big clients who are based in Europe. Like that's like almost like there's a culture there now. So if you want to be the Silicon Valley of the tech industry, your president suggests otherwise, or people are going to Europe, or they are going to Europe. UK has a tough uphill battle. It cannot afford, as a country, it cannot afford to have this kind of hit after hit, especially in the tech space. It flies in the face of what Rishi Sunak says. What Brad Smith is saying is absolutely what it needed to be said, what the lawyers prepped him to say, and that's the real play here. The problem is, you've got some I'm not saying the deal is guaranteed to be done, by the way. There's complexities here. Regulators are bolstered after like a half a century of being completely flaccid. Biden comes in and says, hey, you know what? We need to really regulate the tech industry. But the economy and COVID threw a whole spanner in the works. And now everything's looking really tenuous. And it's like, oh, shit, we gave these guys too much clout. But we now have to posture for the sake of it, because that would just make us look bad, because it shows how like spineless we are. But we already know that. So, the problem is, though, the EC commission, like that's a deadline that's facing Microsoft. They are under pressure now, because if EC and the regulators follow suit, there's a big chance that deal is not going to happen, because you need it to happen in the UK, EU, and the US. And 2 versus 3, like there's a problem there.
I think, guys, if the EU happens to approve it, there is going to be a significant look by UK government at what is going on, because they're like, okay, if the EU approves it, why aren't we? Because the EU as a market, as a whole market, is a larger market combined.
Especially
absolutely
the two regulator bodies have been one for many years, and only over the recent years they work independently. So but
I think one of the key aspects as well, in terms of speculation, is the overestimation on where cloud's going to be in the next 10 years. Like, before we even think about where cloud's going to be in the next 10 years, the global and national infrastructure for actual internet in the first place has to be to a level that can sustain what cloud is going to be or will be. and it isn't there yet. It isn't at a stage yet where cloud is truly in a place where it is a feasible kind of alternative to physical gaming. Like, even if you're playing on 5G, it's really still not that great. You ideally need to be playing cloud gaming on Wi-Fi. Ideally, if you're playing on 5G.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Even on Wi-Fi, it's not ideal. When I was playing using xCloud, it wasn't that great. It was actually, incidentally, and you were spot on there, Dutch, freaking Google Stadia. That was really good.
Yeah.
That gave me the best experience. Sorry, I was going to say, but before you say something.
I totally do get your point, Gas, and I fully agree. From my point of view, sitting here in Germany, looking over there, is it really something that UK as the country can afford? The question really is, what can the government do? Because let me read you something. Earlier today, Voss Patents, Florian Müller, put out something. He wrote, "I've just found an indication that the UK government will not be asked to will now be asked to overrule the CMA's outrageous Microsoft Activision Blizzard decision. It does have the statutory power to do that, and here it should exercise it." And he continues with a little bit, a few other statements. But then our good friend Luke, who is also, by the way, in the chat, who is a mergers and acquisition lawyer in the UK, works with the CMA, usually against the CMA on the corporate side of things, on exactly these topics. We've had him on many times. You guys know him. And I asked him if I can quote him on this. During the show, and he said absolutely. So he answered to this that this will absolutely not happen.
What was the question? What was the question?
That the UK government should overrule the CMA
on what basis?
Exactly. So he says
can't overstep.
Exactly. So let me read his answer, because he says, absolutely won't happen. The security of state intervention can only occur in very narrow, specific circumstances, which include things like stability of the UK financial system, a provision introduced specifically from the financial crisis, public health emergencies, etc., stuff like that. So not gonna happen that the UK government will just overrule it. So if they will. If this deal goes through, it kind of has to go through the appeal of Microsoft. So, yeah,
and I can join in the court hearing. With strange, but I can as a interested third party. All this like a first party considered just the state. I'm sure they can join it in that hearing. But if anyone who knows on the high level how these deals are done, there's no way you cannot ignore the interests of the entire country and the future of its economy and just say, well, the CMA is like, well, fuck you gave me this power. That's not going to happen. But Voss Patents saying that they can just overrule, like you've got an independent body that you've appointed, and on the basis of what? You're going to completely ignore all like legislative procedure, just chuck it out. Like freaking out. If Boris Johnson had the power, you use that loads of times in a multitude of different ways. Or Rishi Sunak, anyone else, they're all the same shit, different toilet. Let's be real. So it's like, what the hell? Like I don't know, the Voss Patents guy. I've been hearing his name, but I don't really know much about him. But he seems to be emotionally invested into it. Well, I can't say anything. But like, it's just let's just cut that out of the way. Yes, there's a geopolitical angle here. Yes, there's the national interest here. There's the economy, absolutely. But you still have to play within the framework of the system, which is why I say you've got this massive deadline barreling towards you, which is the end of May, which is the EC decision. So Microsoft are like panicking. They're working hard. They're sucking off. They're doing a Jim Ryan everywhere now. They're just sucking off everyone in the CMA. Not CMA. That bridge is sailed. But it's like really the UK. They're really going with the EC, and they're going to incentivize. They're going to be backdoor conversations with Rishi Sunak. You know, you've seen those little camera footages with the Conservative MPs like, hey, let us in. And we all, I won't, it's getting too political. But really, the reality of it is, it's fundamentally important for the future trajectory of this country. this is not a red herring. This is setting a precedent. If Microsoft withdraws or threatens to, has made that statement already, that is massive. That it's made that statement. It is crazy, and it will set a precedent. Yeah. People will go to Europe. What happens to the UK? Gets left in the lurch. Again, I'm not saying with guarantees that this will happen. My feeling is it will go through, and it's going to be a long battle because of this. It's going to be the battle with the East. Yeah, it's going to be hugely long, arduous battle. They're going to, because you can't curtail big business like this as well. It just, if Microsoft can be stopped, then you're stopping all kinds of mergers. You've had loads of cases already. Like, what was the case I was reading up on?
The ARM deal with NVIDIA.
I mean, that was a bit of an obvious case, but there was other cases, like there was the JetBlue's proposed acquisition of Spirit. That was really bad. There was a company that's purchasing national TV studios for $3 billion value, and it was just like everyone is being curtailed by because regulatory authorities in the US, their mandate is block it. Like it. Just block it. There's no skin off our nose. We don't care if we lose. They've said that already. But like it's interesting, but at the same time, it's not, because as gamers, we have to spend so long talking about this stuff. But for me, it's like I don't get to switch off from work mode because I finish work. I'm talking about Preston. I'm looking at the regulations 2015. I was doing that at 1 a.m. after I was working till 11 p.m. Switched off. I'm like, I need to make this video now. Let me look into this regulations, the Competition Appeals Tribunal and regs 2015. I'm like, wait, actually got confused. I'm like, am I working or am I doing Game On Daily stuff? What the flip is going on? So it's very interesting, but it's like people need to I get it. The console space is like corruptions, this and that. But after working and looking and tuning into Twitter, I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, get involved in the theatrics of it and like, fuck Sony and all of that. Fine. That's like gaming, still gaming talk. But it's going to the side of like, this is a bit ludicrous now. Just like it was ludicrous when the ponies were like crying tears about consolidation. I genuinely believe these guys are stupid. Like, wow, you're so biased. Some people... like some of them like that I know, that I follow and I chat to, they're really like sound people, but they can't see past this bias. But here with the cloud angle, it's more complicated. I agree with both of you. There are fundamental flaws and in their understanding of the market, gross overestimation perhaps of what that 60-70% numbers constitutes. But it's just gonna drag on, man.
That is definitely something I'm not looking forward to. I was looking forward to this going to an end. We all grew tired of this for multiple reasons, and it was like, oh, okay, it's over soon. It's over soon, and then we can move on. And it also, I said this earlier, it kind of feels like Microsoft or the Xbox division in particular is kind of so distracted with this deal. When you look at this, how many studios did Sony buy over the last 1.5 years? 10 smaller and bigger ones, from Bungie to Firesprite to whatever. It is like really like this deal is crippling them, and now it's gonna continue on and drag on, and it's gonna be a big discussion point. That's one thing. I want to add one thing before we talk about what we think is gonna happen. I feel like there is, besides the maybe a little bit an overstatement in the importance of cloud gaming and that cloud gaming can actually prevent such a big deal, while it's still not really important in the overall gaming market. I feel like there are a lot of things or missed opportunities with this. When we look at the mobile market, we have like a 2-player monopoly thing, like Google and Apple. Yeah, with this, Microsoft intended to break that and actually create new competition, which should also be in the point of discussion. And the mobile market is significantly more important than cloud gaming is at this point in time. In the console space, we have the same thing. when we look at the market dominance of Sony globally, and maybe if we have time left, we get to this later. Earlier this week, we found out what Sony put in the contract with Square, that they are not allowed to work with the Xbox, and we've seen other things from Sony happening. Like they were the first to increase the gaming prices. They did increase the console prices. They have like all these kind of anti-consumer moves that they made over the last couple of years. They can only do that because they have the market share. So we definitely need more competition there. And I've said this so many times that it's not that I want Microsoft to be the super dominant force in the gaming market. I want an equal distribution, because that's when the companies fight for our money in our wallets. And that's what's not happening in the console space at this point. So blocking ABK is really not, for me, not about ABK. And I said this also many times. I don't care about most of the games. Call of Duty is not for me. It's not my type of game. I would play the campaign. I'm not a Call of Duty multiplayer guy. And that's basically all we get in the console space, except of course Diablo every 15 years. I don't play World of Warcraft, and I don't play on mobile. So I wouldn't gain anything from ABK, except the fact that the gaming market or the gaming industry as a whole gets better competition. And I feel like this is just such a big lost opportunity, blocking this over cloud now, honestly.
I think to add to that as well, Boxy, to add to that, the assertion by the CMA that it would restrict competitors from getting into the cloud market when the competitors don't have a drive to want to be in cloud gaming. Like you can't force Sony or Nintendo to invest in cloud gaming.
Yeah.
And they're essentially saying, oh, well, you're going to restrict them from investing. They're not. They can't physically restrict them from investing in cloud gaming. If they don't have the need to do it, you can't restrict another competitor from investing in cloud gaming in order to push forward the cloud segment, because the other two can't be bothered. Like that's not. That's like, how is that?
I do agree.
Yeah.
I do agree there. And as a whole, if you look at the cloud gaming market as a whole, this entire business model needs to grow. Like this is like literally in its infancy, and they are already trying to make this a thing. By doing such moves. What was the UK streaming company, starts with B? I've never heard them before, that they signed a deal with a couple of weeks ago. Their CEO earlier came out today and said, we disagree with the decision of CMA. We would have loved for this deal to happen, because it is a chance. Yeah, because it was not just a chance for them to get games on their service, but it is a chance to make cloud gaming an actual thing. That's the thing. But yeah, so I feel like, again, a lot of missed opportunities here. But guys,
essentially it's restricting innovation, not increasing it. That's essentially what it will do. You can't force people to get into the market, but you can restrict people from getting into the market, and blocking it is restricting people from getting into the market.
Boosteroid, exactly. Sorry, Hagi Chenny in the chat. Shout out, man. Boosteroid. Exactly, it was Boosteroid. So sorry, Dutch, I interrupted you there.
No, I was just saying you can't force people to enter the cloud market, but what you can do, and what CMA will be doing by doing this, is preventing people from investing in that market.
Yeah.
If Microsoft, one of the largest cloud providers in the world, is not allowed to invest in cloud gaming or cloud in general because it restricts others from investing, that's unprovable.
Yeah,
that is completely unprovable. Microsoft investing in cloud does not prevent others from investing in cloud. That's not a thing. Just because they have money doesn't mean the others can't invest in cloud infrastructure either. Yes, it might be at a lower scale, but
might deter them.
Yeah.
It could deter them though. You got big, like ZeniMax's acquisition was enough for us to catalyze Google shutting down there.
But Sony purchased a cloud gaming stream many moons ago, and what did they do? Close them down.
Gaikai. Yeah, well, they didn't really try with that, and so neither did Google. They didn't try with that, and you're right that like nothing is preventing you from entering into the market. So like this. CMA feels like it's gagging for attention as well. To be fair, the way they make their tweets is like, "Ha, we got more traffic than we ever did. Please keep writing your letters in. There we use it because we're running low of toilet
paper." They really
paper.
need to stop using emojis. Yeah,
yeah, I know, right? Like Christopher Hart. But yeah, it's. I do think it's bad for the industry. I think it would have been, it would have revitalized so many parts of the industry, and particularly in the AAA space in terms of what it would have meant for COD. It would have come biannual. There were already talks of revisiting old IPs. You know what? Activision was the graveyard of great studios. Like they killed, and IPs that they churned around. To ad nauseum. COD seems to withstand all of that, but your likes of your Guitar Heroes and all of that, they just killed it. Activision was just notorious for that. It is. So like it's bad for the developers, bad for the people working there. It's really bad.
Another important point. We all know about the culture within ABK. So
it would have been tough for Microsoft as well, because Microsoft is having a tough time already dealing with its first-party studios. So that would have added massive burden on it to try and fix up. But then it would have. The thing for me is this, and why secretly why a lot of the PlayStation guys are very anti-ABK, other than the obvious cloud stuff, is that if the deal goes through, it's almost impossible to talk about Xbox bowing out or Microsoft bowing out from the gaming industry. That is the big one, and the commitment is solidified almost perpetuity, because the ponies don't want that, because that was we can never make this argument that Xbox is bowing out. People are look 30% downturn in sales. I'm like, well, based on what? No games, no nothing, shit marketing. Redfall's coming out, there's barely any marketing. I hear finally released a trailer. Where are the press copies or all the review copies? It's just it's a shit show. But ultimately, with this deal going through, Xbox would have been in it for a while. I do think it's going through. What I think will collapse the deal is if Microsoft's appetite wanes in light of watching its stock rise as a result of this announcement, whilst ABK's plummets. The markets are speaking that we'd rather you focus your efforts elsewhere in AI or where else, instead of this long, arduous, almost weak-looking case is what the investors are saying. But if Microsoft, it would just be stupid to wave the banner now. You need to go all in. I think it would just be interesting as well. Just go, and this is all the big businesses are rallying behind Microsoft. This is beyond Microsoft. By the way, this is all big business. And big business want this deal to go through. But Microsoft are leading the charge here, and their appetite to fight is raw, because it's Microsoft, one of the richest in the world. So it's battling the whole jurisdiction now, and it may be potentially battling EU, and then the FTC in America. That's why I think that if the EU blocks it, it's ready to fail, because I question Microsoft's appetite to be able to fight essentially the
all
world.
Three main regulators.
It's not the world, but it's the big regulators: UK, the whole of Europe, and your home turf. And FTC just don't even see it. You have to have a severe appetite, massive drain in funds, legal fees, logistical nightmares. And also you have to understand, Microsoft invested in ABK at a time during COVID, and we were coming off that high time. The market was a bull market for gaming. Everyone sat at home scratching their ass, discovering video games. Market was booming. So that was the feel there. Now that that element of it, you barely hear the word the metaverse now.
Yeah.
You barely hear it. Before you couldn't even escape it. Like, what the flip? What's going on? Like, metaverse is that Facebook
like,
pod baby going to introduce like
complete
VR
different
porn in a way
excitement
that,
around
like,
gaming. Yeah.
It's completely changed. And now that paradigm has shifted towards conversations around things that will actually make a difference, like AI. Like these are significant cultural shifts where you need to make that investment. But so this it's a very fascinating topic for you, peer it away from like our Xbox or PlayStation, whatever lenses and the console space. It's really interesting. This is like a weird moment, generally.
It absolutely
but
is.
I still think Microsoft can do. I'm not saying it's going to definitely go through, but I think Microsoft would need to stay the course. They have to be really inventive. And also, sorry, this is the point. This deal cannot pass in the UK. The CAT will not hear it. And the thing I was actually checking, because I'm not a mergers and acquisitions lawyer like your friend in the chat is. I'm in Comprop. But it's just like, I was reading up the legislation. The thing I wanted to look at is how easy is it to submit new evidence? And the reason why I'm looking at the submission of new evidence for the CAT to hear it, or its propensity, or its appetite to hear things, or what its general position is as far as the regs are concerned, they can. But the reason why I'm doing that is because there's no way this deal is going to go through on the basis of Microsoft just arguing on the technicalities and saying you've got the 60-70% number wrong. This is erroneous. They have to offer something else. So, but part of the CMA's thing is like these measures. Then they admitted Microsoft are very pragmatic in offering these solutions. Except on the detail, they weren't that great. So Microsoft now, if it has the ideas, I'm sure they do, but they need to start reaching out, making some meaningful, like big moves on the cloud space that can maybe like pacify not necessarily the CMA but the CAT, which will think of around the same lens. Like what can we do that can show definitively that we will not abuse our position in a market that doesn't exist? And that's where the technical problem lies. Like, how do you sufficiently prove that in a market that is, even they say there's not enough regulation in this space because the freaking industry is not even, it's like an embryo.
Relevant and existing, basically.
Absolutely. So, it has to do that. So prepare yourselves. You're going to see a lot more. And I'm thinking because of the EC hearing, you're going to see more. Like it did with like Boosteroid and all the shit, and EE as well, the telephone comms provider. You're going to do more and more. And then maybe Amazon or someone else will be in the conversation. Big players like that. What can they do? Pacta was talking about concession where the Microsoft. I don't know where the fuck Pacta. He says it apparently anyway. But he said that Microsoft they're concerned that they could raise the price. So the CMA said they're concerned that they could raise the price of Game Pass and abuse their market position.
Yes.
He says Microsoft will then just say no, we won't raise the price of Game Pass on cloud. What, forever? That does not work.
So
not even 5 years, not even 10 years.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Like, you cannot do that. Microsoft would be stupid. They're just better off walk away from the deal. When have you heard of a company being committed to a price like that in perpetuity? Well, there are industries like oil and gas and like basic general needs where these companies are making profits. You're not mandating that they commit themselves to a price, which technically should just be static. But no, Microsoft in the cloud entertainment industry is to fix $10 for Game Pass forever. So it's just like there's a lot of nonsense floating about. I'm not professing to know the answers, but it's a multifaceted problem. It's very interesting. It's very interesting when I sit down and fucking take a shower from all the legal shit I've been doing and read into this case. And I'm just hearing it, other than nonsense on Twitter. It's just very interesting. Microsoft has a tough battle, but if anyone can do it, it's Microsoft, and it's being backed by business. Rishi Sunak, I cannot see on an executive level the UK not taking this seriously now. And there are phone calls being made right now everywhere from the UK, EU to the UK, US, that with Microsoft, between Microsoft and, not just senators in the US, but here, this happening right now. It's going to be, I just love to be in a fly in the wall in the Microsoft, like what's happening? Like, what are they going to do? Just the legal counsel. I'd love to be involved in that. Yeah, it's very interesting, but I don't think it's impossible. I don't think the deal is dead. It may be, but the EU. If they decide no, then I'm like, all right, time to buy time to I'm a pony. No, it's like, all right, well, the deal is dead. Then Microsoft should walk away. In my opinion, Microsoft should walk away.
I agree. If the EU is gonna block it as well, I don't think that they have a proper chance to fight this. Let me briefly catch up on the super chats before I get Dutch's thoughts. What's gonna happen next? Hagi Chenny sends in $5. Thank you so much, man. He says, cloud is a useless distraction. Stadia failed because the market for cloud just isn't there. The go-to market for Stadia was useless.
I disagree with that. Only that, because I get it, partially agree, but Google didn't even try.
That's the thing. It was not the only reason that there wasn't a big market for it. There's always, when you introduce a new product into a market, there's always the question, when is the right point in time to introduce new technology to society? It could have been that they were simply a little bit too early, but on the other hand, it was such a lackluster try. The problem really is with that, if you want to become a platform holder, and it really doesn't matter whether you sell a console or a streaming service or whatever, you kind of have to have content. And that was just the problem. They didn't even try. It was something I said to you, Dutch, a couple of weeks ago when we talked about Netflix getting into gaming. They kind of do it in an interesting way, because they actually buy studios and buy IPs and try to make games before they actually launch a proper service. And I think that this is the difference here with Google. They just had no games. That's
So shout out to Chronic. He DM'd me. This is the excerpt from the response from the PM's spokesperson. Said that Brad Smith's statements were wrong and not born of facts. Basically saying he's in his feelings. The spokesperson also said that the UK government would engage Microsoft on the issue, while iterating that the CMA is an unelected independent body separate from the government, which kills your Foss Patton guy's argument. But really, of course they're going to engage. They have to engage. UK market is desperate to engage. It's just it has real ramifications for the future, like the economy of this country. Like, it's really important for us lot here, where like what's happening, freaking mortgages, interest rates, the market was starting to recover, and this can have a cascade effect on foreign investment. That
smaller
you don't
and bigger
want
businesses, from startup to giant,
beyond gaming,
to other giant companies. Thanos sends in $5 super chat. He says, if the ABK fails, what do you guys think will happen to ABK and Xbox afterwards?
Very good question.
Very good question. Let us get to that in a second. I need to shout out the 180 people that are live in the chat. You guys are...
Shout out!
There we go.
Shout out!
There you go. Big thank you to you guys for tuning in. Hope you do enjoy the show. And if you do so, it would be absolutely awesome of you to hit the like button. It's completely free. It costs only one click, and it would help us out a lot. And of course, if you are new here, you could also consider subscribing. Dutch and I, we're hosting this show here each and every week with changing guests, and always we always have a great talk about all the things that happen in gaming. So guys, I hope you enjoy this show. But let's get to the question from Thanos. If it fails, what happens with ABK and Xbox? Quick thought from myself. I think ABK will just continue the way they have continued over the last years. No real innovation coming there. They're just gonna continue there. The big question is what Xbox is gonna do after this. I'll
tell you what Xbox will do. Thing is, Activision will there'll be serious job losses. There'll be serious job losses. I think the market will tank. They'll have to fix up. They're bleeding. I would say. I can anticipate. It's not based on any hard facts, but And Microsoft's commitment, I don't know. I'll be like, all right, you invested in ZeniMax, but we need to see a little bit more to keep me calm. Like your appetite to be all in on gaming is still intact. Well, yeah, we'll see. That's a good question. I can't hear you.
You're muted.
Oh, I thought it was me.
Damn
I was
it.
like, shit.
Damn it. So I don't think we will see another big move like a $70 billion investment into, I don't know, something else. If I think that Xbox then will have to prove themselves again within Microsoft as a lucrative division. So however they will do that, maybe by actually bringing out more games. I don't know, but I don't think that it's that we will see them just taking the $70 billion and get another big player, like a Steam or something. I don't know. I don't think that we will see that. Dutch, what do you think?
No, I don't think that either. I agree. Keeping it simple. I agree. I don't think that'll happen.
Yeah. So
I think at this point, and I think everybody can assume right now, that it's that Microsoft are just not going to let this die. They're not. They absolutely are going to fight this till the very bitter end. They are not going to let this die. The only time they'll let this die is if literally all three major block it, and the appeals fail. That is the only time it's going to die. Up until that point, until the very bitter end, it's not happening. So, yeah.
So Jonas the Dead sends in a $2 super chat and says, "Drop 40 billion and make ABK forever second party exclusive." Yeah, that would be the move, dude.
Well, it's funny you say that, but Microsoft like they'll get cozier, and that would happen. You'd see a lot more of those deals being made because they'll be warming up to each other. You'll be able to report. You've been through some like arduous attempts. The world's trying to stop your love, and you're like, and Sony's trying to stop your love. So they'll be kissing for a little bit, 5 years maybe. I remember how they messed us up. Angry sex, but yeah.
I think someone from ABK, I can't remember what it was, but someone said it that the relationship with Sony is deeply hurt now. So I don't think that they would just continue on. On the other hand, if you look at all the millions on the table, you know, what has been said yesterday is forgotten soon. So who knows? That's what do you think? How will this deal now continue? So Microsoft obviously gonna appeal to it.
Yeah.
Do you see any chances of that succeeding?
I think I think there's a 50-50 chance that it'll concede. It'll succeed. I don't think. I think there's Cat is notoriously difficult to get around because, of course, all Cat do is send it back to the CMA to completely do everything from scratch again. Make sure that everything's been covered correctly. They have all the facts, and essentially that's what Microsoft want to happen. Is that it goes back to the CMA with more facts, and that's what Gaz was reiterating before, is when do they get to kind of present additional information or look at other things? And that's the stage in which so when Kat says, okay, yeah, we believe it can be kind of looked at again, then all
There's
it does
a guy
is go
called
back to
Bobby
the CMA.
Dazzle in the chat says, "You're not open for business, UK? Okay, your school, hospital, and business will be shut overnight."
All of it.
Do you think this deal is?
Take away Office 365 and
Hospital done! No way! Schools, kids don't need education. How dare you block acquisitions of Microsoft? What? Oh. I can't do this anymore.
So, while Gas needs to cool down, Dutch, please continue.
Yeah. So no, it's a case of it's 50-50 whether or not it'll eventually go through. ultimately what Microsoft want to do is to be able to ensure that all the facts are there to make a correct decision. Now, all Cat will do is just push that back to the CMA anyway. CMA will completely go over everything again, and then they'll completely go over everything again, and then that'll be it. And then on Microsoft's case, fingers crossed, that'll be deal done. And they'll approve. But it's likely that the second stage, when it goes back to the CMA, will just be remedies. It'll be, okay, well, what else are you conceding? That'll be it.
Yeah. So risk it for the biscuit cents in a $3 Australian didgeridoo, or whatever that is. Australian dollars. Thank you, man. He says, Cat can overrule the decision, but it's rare. Yeah.
There's no precedence for it in this acquisition space.
Yeah. So Luke, how Luke explained it the last time he was on our podcast is that basically the only chance you have is to prove that they did something that they had chosen a false methodology to analyze this deal. So you can't really argue against the outcome. You can only argue about their procedure, that they did something technically wrong. So it's gonna be a tough one, but given that, like you said, that it's Microsoft behind this, there are only like 2 other companies in the world that have similar amount of money. They have probably one of the best lawyer teams in the world on this now, and if anyone can fight this, it's them. I also do agree that the EU will probably like the tipping point. So with the FTC, I mean, it's different because they can't really block it. They can only sue them, but they can't really block it. So I think if the EU will approve the Cat and is gonna have an even harder time to argue against the appeal of Microsoft, but it won't be easy and it will be a lengthy process. That's for sure. And that's a little unfortunate because I want Microsoft to focus again more on especially the Xbox division, more on their core thing. Yeah, like games for consoles, games for PC.
Boxenberger.
Yeah, let's talk about games.
Fuck this stupid. Let's just sing a song.
Okay, there's a good game coming out tomorrow. Oh, good lord.
This whole podcast has been fucking Michael Jackson just playing in the background, not touching kids, but Michael Jackson before he was. I can't even save myself off that comment. Fuck it. Let's talk about Let it play. This is more demonetized anyway.
Yeah, it did.
Shout out to Michael Jackson. Hopefully he wasn't touching kids. Breaking our dreams. I want some games.
Good lord. All right. I think the topic of the CMA will come up a couple of times during the show, but let's talk about some games, guys, man. Tomorrow, a good game is going to come, or hopefully a good game is going to come out with Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. It's getting great reviews, but it also has a couple of issues. So they came out, EA came out earlier today, and they said that, now I have to, where is it in my notes? Exactly. They are planning weeks of Star Wars Jedi Survivor patches to fix bugs and performance issues. Then they got criticized a lot for saying that, because despite a delay for polishing the game, it looks like it's set to launch with a significant number of issues. So what I have heard is that console versions are actually okay, and it's mostly a PC thing,
Oh,
but
that's fine.
yeah, I have a pre-order on the Xbox, so yeah.
Yep.
But Guess, are you looking forward to Star Wars? And
Yes.
are you concerned about bugs and issues?
Yes and yes. In fact, actually, I need to freaking preload it.
Yeah, get started, man. It's 140 gigs on the Series X.
Oh God! Okay, I definitely need to preload it. Let me do it after this because I don't want the bandwidth to just mess up my internet because the UK London internet shit. I loved Fallen Order, but I had the benefit of playing it when the Series X came out, when presumably all the bugs that actually caused its review scores to tank.
Yeah.
Then it's like 70 meta at the time. I got to play it when all of that was sorted. And when I completed the game and I was just like, I tweeted about it, I was like, because I forgot about the bugs. I'm like, what? Why was this game reviewed bad? This game is incredible. Like, what? This is one of the best Star Wars games I've ever played. And I'm not a massive Star Wars nerd. I don't really know much about Star Wars. I've watched most of the movies, but I don't get it. Well, I get it, but it's like shit copy of Dune. But yeah, no, yeah. I played Fallen Order and I was like, okay, now people tell me they had a lot of bugs in the game. Some of the Metroidvania stuff didn't really hit with people, and the level design was his biggest problem. Last week I was talking about this on Go Live, and I was like, and I've been saying it since. I'm like, this is gonna shit on the first game.
Yeah,
it's because in my thinking, and it seems to be the case now, the reviews are much higher now. It's like 86, 87 on Meta, and it's not that I'm saying that's 86 on Meta, because a far cry from Fallen Order is at the 70s. And people are now asking the opposite question, because somehow this game is, like you say, apparently littered with bugs, whether or not it's PC or wherever, but it is. So people are like, why isn't it being taken into account when before it was? And that's a very interesting question. Yeah. We'll find out how prevalent these issues are, but there are multiple people, multiple sources citing these problems. And you know what? If that's the case, and the game is buggy, one, that's really unfortunate. We'll talk about what that means for the game, but it wouldn't surprise me, because it almost like the Cyberpunk fiasco. Almost how many reviewers did review that? Some in our community, like really highly, despite in the face of its disgusting bugs. Now, some people might say, "Oh, well, as long as it doesn't detract enough from the fun of the game, it's not that important." But in Cyberpunk's case, it was almost inescapable. But whereas with Jedi Survivor, one, I'm very surprised that happened, because I almost didn't assume that this game was going to have the bugs. So I'm like, of course, it's Respawn. They never miss. They missed in this weird way with Fallen Order, but it still delivered an incredible game. That wasn't even in the equation for me that Survivor would have these kind of issues, or as prevalent as we're hearing, because I just expected the game to be incredible, and apparently is incredible, and it refines a lot of things. And I'm purposely kind of put a media blanket on the reviews, because I just don't want it to be spoiled. I just want to kind of go in not knowing, well, as much as you can, because you play the first game and the trailers and stuff, whatnot. But it's just a shame, because if the bugs do detract from the fun, I'm just thinking, what? It's like, what you couldn't really afford to make. Well, you can, because the game is beautiful. It hasn't hurt its Metacritic score, so there's that. I just hope it doesn't detract away from the fun. So what it means for me is, do I play this day one? Do I wait for a patch to fix these bugs? What are the bugs? I don't think I can wait, man. I think there's a lot of games I want to play. When is Zelda coming out? I pre-ordered that.
2 weeks. So I think 14th of March.
Oh, then I have to play it. I have to play it. There's no chance that I'm gonna make my backlog bigger. It was actually my plan. It was like
25-hour game around, plus minus, of course. I can squeeze that in
bank
before
holiday weekend.
Yeah, I can. Same here in Germany, so I can squeeze that in before Zelda comes out. So, and then I have 2.5 weeks for Zelda before Diablo comes out. So, but then there are other games like Benedict Fox dropped earlier today. I did not have the chance to start it yet.
I need to download that.
Yeah,
That looks amazing
definitely.
as well.
Definitely. And of course,
Yeah, so many things
Redfall
to play.
comes out. That will distract a lot of people. I'm gonna wait for the 60
For
FPS
for
patch.
2 hours. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. Midfall. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bro, that game's hype has gone.
Totally.
Like, dead.
It's a shame, man. It's a shame. Everyone was waiting for new Xbox IPs, and finally, after, I mean, the last big AAA game they had launched was Halo. That was 1.5 years ago. Yeah, we had smaller games like the awesome Hi-Fi Rush in January, of course, and a Pentiment. I know you're a big fan, but
I never played it, but I'm just making fun of it for the jokes because of the way I'm sure it's like a fun game if you like those kind of games. I'm not writing you off. It's just because the way it looks, it's easy to make fun of it. But I'm not saying it's a bad game.
I played it for an hour. It's not for me. Let's put it this way, not for me. But anyway, Redfall, yeah, with the 60 FPS, I think they lost the core community. The thing is, they will still report like numbers of, I don't know, 3 million players within the first week or two, because like, yeah, people that are subscribed to Game Pass will just boot it up. The question really is, how many will finish it and actually,
and how well is it received?
Yeah. So it's a little bit of a shame, man. It could have been something special, but yeah, I'm gonna wait for the 60 FPS patch. I thought about playing it on PC, but man, I sit in front of the PC all day at work, and after 12 hours,
I know how you feel.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
and then I do stuff for the channel when I come home, and then when I just want to relax, I want to sit down on the couch and just take the controller in my hand and play some games, man. It's just, but that's me. That's a me thing. Yeah. So anyway, I'm looking forward to Star Wars, man. I've heard nothing but good things. They, like you said, they improved a lot of things on the level design and everything. The Metroidvania mechanics. It was my game of the year 20 when it came out 19, I want to say. I loved the first one. So I'm super excited. It was one of my most anticipated games. I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and I everything that I read and saw about this game just has me hyped. So I do hope that it's nothing game breaking. With the bugs that we hear, but yeah, I've heard in the Dutch. I think you have heard something similar, that it's mainly PC bugs.
Yeah, ACG put a post up actually, and he said his main console, well, his main platform played on currently is console, and it still is even after reviewing it. And PC is good, but definitely has its issues. So yeah, it's consoles as it stands at launch. Console's the best place to play Jedi for Survivor.
Yeah.
PC will be patched later. It seems to be a lot of PC optimization issues recently, unlike Redfall, which is the opposite.
We've seen it both ways.
He just emailed. He just tweeted, by the way, ACG public service announcement. As it stands, all platforms have massive performance and bug issues, with crashing even occurring occasionally on consoles for Jedi Survivor. This impacts the story, gameplay, fun factor, and audio and everything. This is not just a PC thing.
Okay.
Patches are coming. Yes, patches are indeed always coming. That's how it works, and that's how good the game is.
But that's the thing. You kind of punish the day one bias.
Not working.
Yeah.
Bro, because and that's good because this game is as close to not working as I've seen in a title in a review period since Days Gone. That is scathing. The actual game itself is severely impacted across all platforms by technical problems and impacts everything from story beats to voiceovers. More later. So that's my decision. Man. Like, I'm not playing it now. I'm not playing that with the crashes, man.
I'm gonna give it a try if it's really that game breaking, and I'm just gonna pause, play something
you let
else.
Us know.
I'll let you know. I'll let you know. Most certainly. So let me catch up on the super chats. I'm going backwards because John TJ, I'm gonna put yours last because probably gonna take up the conversation. Igor sends in a €2 super chat. Thank you so much, man. And he says, Microsoft should have made Game Pass exclusive for its consoles. Yeah, see, what I would say is what they should have done is they should have marketed Redfall as an Xbox game. You don't have to make it console exclusive, but in no ad whatsoever you have seen any connection towards Xbox. It's always just like underneath the logos are available on Steam, Epic Store, Xbox Game Pass, and Xbox. But it's really not, they are not marketing it as this is our Xbox game. And Xbox is an ecosystem. So just, I don't know, Redfall exclusive in the Xbox ecosystem or something like that, yeah? Someone with a marketing degree could come up with a better line, but it's so weird to me that they are not connecting that game towards their brand. So it's just
because their brand is beyond console now. They're treating the Xbox console gamers as second-class citizens, and that true. I don't like. I don't like this whole shotgun approach. We're for everyone, and like you need to understand. And this PlayStation understands this. Sony very well understands it. Obviously, its market strategy relies on squeezing as much as it can out of the very lucrative console space. But I don't care. Whatever their ulterior motive here or there, and yes, they want to move to PC, they still treat PlayStation console gamers as their priority. And I love that about PlayStation. I hate what Microsoft is doing because
I agree.
It may sound stupid, but as someone like who's been gaming on console for a while, and the core gamers are here, and we buy your consoles all day, and like we are the ones like rallying across the brand. We believe in it. We have a vision for it. Like it was, especially at the start of this gen, it was blissful. It was beautiful. And you're not making any attempts at really making the console crowd feel good. In fact, anything, it feels punitive. Your games aren't performing well. Redfall doesn't perform well on Xbox. It's got the inferior like modes on it. You charge us to play online, whereas the PC counterparts don't get to play. Like, what are we playing gold for? What are you doing?
No real improvements on the entire interface DVR? Or anything. DVR, people have been complaining about that since forever.
User interface looks like shit. You keep
localization, still. Dashboard. We have countries here in Europe where you can't even pay with your credit card in the Xbox store, man. What's that?
And my Xbox needs a slap in the face and a swift reminder that if it thinks it can go for the cloud and the mobile market and the PC with neglecting the console base, it needs to be slapped. That's where I don't have any sympathy for Microsoft. Like, even in a message, you can't even give us the courtesy of spitting on us like a little bit, even pretending that like console gamers are, and it doesn't make, and I don't want to Phil Spencer statement that console gamers are important. And shut the flip up and show it, because you said quality and consistency is really important last year, and then someone made all like a collage of all. I like Phil; he really is a nice guy. But like in terms of marketing strategy and console gamers, you need to back up your buy. You need to incentivize console Xbox gamers to buy the Xbox and invest in it, because when the Redfall came out at 30, everyone's like, what why am I
the most powerful console? And
you didn't even have the courtesy to address. You were very vocal. They came into Cult Show, Dealer Show, all these Jason Reynolds and and all angry marketing hard, power, and Phil Spencer himself says in an interview, we feel very good about the power of this console. And you don't even have the backup you don't even make a statement. Don't even give us anything to indicate that, you know what, it's the tools. Why are your content creators and the space calling the tools? This is why I get pissed off when D-Batch goes, but FSR, shut the up about FSR. Mad's not doing it. Mad's quit doing it months ago. He's like, you know what, fuck it. Why am I doing it? They're not backing up their words. So my Xbox deserves to get slapped really hard for all this bullshit as well. They're treating the Xbox gamer as a second-class citizen, and the Xbox gamers need to rally behind it. And I think if Starfield hits 30, can you imagine? The straw that will break the camel's back. That will be very like, all right, Like even I don't want to go on PC. I'm like you, Boxer Bug. I'm loving it. But now I'm desperate for a mid-gen console that can do like 60 without compromise at all. I don't even want to hear it now. But I hated the idea of a mid-gen console when these ones barely apparently scratched the surface of the power of these machines.
Yeah.
But now I want it. And I don't want to go back to PC, man. I just sit there like this Kratopsy guy. Like, I just want to chill, sit back, crane my neck so my TV's up in the fucking roof and just break myself. No, but you know what I mean? I'm ranting here. I'm delirious. I had no sleep. I'm sorry.
No, I do agree. And with almost everything you said. I said very similar things a couple of weeks ago on this show when this whole Redfall thing broke. Actually, it cost me a lot of subs, but I don't care. The thing is that Xbox is stuck in this limbo. I don't know. We have the console space feels like second-class citizen when we are the ones that made the brand what it is. The console 100%. Gamers. That's where it all started. Then of course we have the super long dry streak of AAA releases. No other platform holder has ever had that, and that after in 2018 they started to buy all these studios, and 5 years later here we are, and there's still no games. And yes, the pipeline looks good. We know what's coming. They've shown us a couple of things. But it's this just wait, and then a game comes out, and then the story is basically but just wait till it's finished with the 60 FPS. And it's not it's not a good look. And then at the same time we hear we want to reach 3 billion gamers around the globe with cloud, and we're doing this and that, when in their core segment they did not deliver. Then they promised us the most powerful consoles, and for 2.5 years every creator, including myself, made a lot of videos trying to explain the tech and trying to explain what's going on with drivers, with tools, with all these engines and so on. But then at the end, the biggest games that come out tend to perform better on PlayStation, and you're just sitting there when on paper the hardware should be able to run them at least as good as on a PlayStation, if not better. And I think all this together, it just grows a lot of people, or makes a lot of people tired of just waiting till things improve. Marketing is one thing, localization, we talked about this. So
marketing, localization, all of that. The only saving grace was going to be this CMA thing, which is even still had the FTC. But we're like, you know what? We need a win. Yeah. We're going to get a win. And then we didn't get a win. And you're like, what the actual F is this fucking month or 2 or 3? This year was going to be the year. Remember how many people came at me? I did say 2023 better deliver. And the June showcase, whatever it is, oh my God! If that does not deliver, then
it's gonna be tough, because the last year we were not happy. Most people were not happy. There have been some defending it, but most people I've seen in the community were not happy with the 12-month thing, because in the 12 month we had like 3 games that people really were excited. It was Forza, Redfall, and Starfield. Now the only one hitting the window is Redfall, and it's not gonna come out complete or the way it was promised. So yeah, man, Xbox has a lot to prove, and that's why I always say that I'm not sure if I want this ABK deal to continue. Honestly, I want them to. I don't know if it's that it just distracts them, but I think a lot of the problems started even before the ABK deal. But it's definitely something that takes up a lot of resources within the division. Obviously, someone has to take care of this ginormous. Gigantic acquisition. So
how do you feel, Dutch? You've been sitting there quietly,
man,
listening to us. Watching porn.
I'm pretty much on the same lines as Boxy. To be fair, I couldn't really care whether or not the deal goes through. Haven't since the beginning. It was great and fun while it was kind of initially going on. But at this point, a year and a half into the transaction, we're still talking about it. I literally couldn't at this point care less if it goes through or not, because it doesn't materially impact us in the slightest. The only thing we get is we don't have to pay for Call of Duty in Game Pass. We potentially don't have to pay for Diablo. But like, there's some basic Game Pass additions to it that would have benefited us, but materially,
Starcraft,
Xbox can't manage what they have correctly as it stands. Adding another 10, 12, 14 studios to that, and the burdening issues of the way that the developers are at Activision Blizzard is another mountain that they have to kind of go into and fix and sort all them issues out. So I would rather them spend the time to get back on track with their own studios and go down that route, because right now they've still only one game's going to hit that 12-month window that they initially promised, and even then it's missing a performance mode that was initially it's on the back of the retail box, 60 FPS, but now it comes with a sticker that says not available at launch. What, like, that's how that's it's so stupid that is a thing. It's not even just a sticker that they've provided, it's a sticker that retailers are printing off and applying to the box to say 60 FPS performance mode is not available at launch.
Are they doing that?
Yeah.
Are they just printing out 30
just
frames and
posted
slapping on the
a
box?
picture of
Are you
the
joking,
box.
bro?
It's on the box, on the back of the box saying 60 FPS performance mode not available at launch.
Yeah.
So this is what I'm saying. Like, Microsoft need to focus on Xbox need to focus first and foremost on getting their own house in order before applying another extension to that house that they also can't manage.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Sort the first issues out first and then do the rest. We understand you want to do this for cloud and do this for mobile and expand on them two segments, but when your actual main building is still not outputting what it requires and it's not on track and it continues to have issues, then what's the point in applying these? It's like having a load of staff that are underperforming and then hiring another 10 staff that are also underperforming and then wondering why you're not performing as a company. You need to get these guys performing first. You need to make sure they're outputting at a good rate, and then think about adding more people to the mix. It is at this point, it's just to me, I'd much rather they just focus on correcting their own issues than continue down this path. But they're not going to. Let's face it, they are going to fight this till the bitter end. To them, it's more than just that. It's as a Microsoft thing and not just an Xbox thing. They want it for the mobile segment. They want it for the cloud segment. They're looking at this as a far wider strategy than just the gaming side. So it's well beyond Microsoft. Beyond just Xbox at this point. It's a Microsoft thing that they're pushing forward. So they'll continue. And hopefully we'll just pick up on this in 6 to 12 months whenever it wraps up, and talk about it then, because thankfully, thank the fucking Lord, we've got showcases coming up, we've got events coming up, we've got Gamescom where we're going to meet, and Gaz is going to go and and do lines and have fun and
all of us.
All of us.
All of us. So there's so much awesome stuff happening, but both Sony and Xbox have been very quiet on the actual talkative front. Sony haven't had a game showcase in the best part of 500 and odd days.
Wow, that's bad.
That's insane.
Microsoft should have abused that position and they
could have
slept behind the wheel when Sony had done
500 days since they had a showcase. 500. That's insane.
That's crazy.
And we still don't know to this point. And everyone keeps saying, "Oh, there's
We
big
only know
rumors that
about
they're going to have
2
this massive
games coming
showcase."
from them. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, they're going to have this huge
Surely
showcase.
this year
I've
they
seen
will
no
show
proof.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've seen no proof. Every time they say they're going to have this huge monumental showcase, nothing happens. And they keep rumoring it, and it's like, well, where is the proof? Then they keep saying, "Oh, it's going to be the end of May." It's a month away, and they've still not mentioned it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not even the biggest of leakers that I've seen that are usually regularly on point or talking about it are overly confident that that showcase exists. So at this point, Sony's not really doing much. Xbox has really poorly performed this year. Yes, they've had Hi-Fi, and again, because people always bring it up. Yes, they've had Hi-Fi Rush. Hi-Fi Rush was absolutely beautiful. It was a brilliant game. We've got some awesome indie titles going into Game Pass, including starting today with Benedict Fox, which is awesome, by the way. Next week, we've got Ravenlock, which is awesome. You've got Redfall, of course, next week as well. Good little block there. But Redfall has its issues on launch. It doesn't have performance mode, which is an issue for a lot of people. But again, a lot of people will still play it. But you shouldn't have those issues, full stop. We shouldn't. It was delayed for a reason, to get it into a point where it was performing well. So Microsoft need to get their house in order. Sony need to get their house in order. And both of them have been caught lacking, focusing far too much on either blocking the deal or getting the deal pushed, that they've just completely forgotten what they're actually meant to be doing here in the first place. And that's presenting and producing games for consumers. That is the ultimate thing. They do need to focus on the games and just leave all this stuff to the legal teams to sort out. Like, we don't need to be brought into this stuff. But it seems like every 2 minutes we're seeing people posturing on the socials about the deal from both sides, whether that's Sony or Microsoft. Like, you do all that stuff in the back office, we don't care. Like, just present to us the games that you're making on Sony and Xbox's side and let that do the talking. Don't worry about, if we show this showcase, then that will give the wrong idea to regulators. Great. We don't care. It's not our problem.
That's a bullshit argument anyway.
Yeah. Show us what you do.
Yeah.
I don't care. At this point, I just want we as consumers, we are there for the games. So show us the games, show us what you're working on, and then make sure that they perform well. Sony's victim of that on PC recently with The Last of Us, which is atrocious performance-wise, absolutely terrible. Then we've got Microsoft, Redfall releasing next week, doesn't have performance mode. We still, again, as you know, we still haven't got review copies out. I don't know whether or not they're out in the wild yet.
I don't know either. They actually said to me they're gonna send me a review code, and I have not received one yet. So
it's gonna be a last minute thing. I can guarantee it'll be a last minute thing again. And you know what happens when games get review codes last minute? It's generally not a good thing. It's generally not a good thing. I've never seen a game review code given to reviewers 1-2 days beforehand, and it actually review well.
Yeah, agree. So, I need to catch up on one super chat from Drawn TJ. He says, check your DM boxy, more news on ABK. So I checked my DMs. He actually sent me 3 tweets. The first is from our good friend Idle Sloth. He posted that Microsoft Xbox chief seeks to reassure game staff on Activision. Phil Spencer told Xbox worker at an all hands this morning that while the ABK deal is an accelerant to the company's gaming strategy, it's not the entirety of it. Then we have another thing from Voss. I think we covered that with our discussion earlier. And then Destin posted something. He says, ABK, I have not done a ton of digging, but the tribunal overturned the acquisition blocks by the CMA before. JD Sports won an appeal a few years ago, unless I'm mistaken, and other rulings were overturned. I don't think the deal is dead just yet. So yeah, I think a lot of voices are saying similar things. Deal's not dead just yet, and of course, Phil also had to reassure his employees now with something. It's a lot of people within Microsoft have or the Xbox division have probably worked on this to some extent, and it must be a setback within the organization itself as well. So, yeah. But yes, you got. Do you have a couple of more minutes, because there is something.
Don't worry about me, man.
All right.
Sorry if I'm drained. I'm no sleep. I've been working from 6 a.m. to now, but I'm here. I'm fully yours.
All right. Because earlier this week, we learned something that I wanted to talk to you about, and that is that I'm just trying to find my notes here.
You got me excited. We've discovered something. What?
That Square, that Sony actually put something in the contract with their partners. That is just kind of in a gray
old
zone.
Information that's just been recirculating around.
So,
but it's probably real.
Yeah, I think Debatch but was the first one to post it. That Sony has signed third-party deals with developers to stop them from working with Microsoft specifically. So they were allowed to work with others, probably after the exclusive period of 6 months or whatever, and so they could work with whoever they want, but not an Xbox. So what do you make of this? I mean, like you said, we have heard similar things before, but one thing that the ABK thing revealed, we got a relatively public insight in some of the deals and contracts. What do you think? Is this of this? Is this even legal? I don't know. I was thinking about this. I'm not sure. Excluding one specific, partner.
Well, Sony has conducted this way for a while. The assertion, however, goes a little bit deeper than aggressive money hatching. It feels like it's a calculated move by Sony to foster maybe a culture or with a particular publisher or studio or a multitude of studios to engage in exclusionary behavior, like to specify specifically, like don't enter into deals where you say this game cannot come on Xbox at all. It's fine on other platforms, but they're targeting their main competitor. And despite their market position, and if true, and depending on the breadth of that kind of behavior and how that's executed, you're talking about anti-compete. That's anti-competitive measures there, because you're abusing your market position. You've been in this space for a whole generation before Microsoft. Yes, it's Microsoft, but you've been there before. They're not in Japan. Japan is a foreign, jurisdiction for them. There are a multitude of factors that you fostered relationships in an instrumental time in a generation where Microsoft, it wasn't even a player. And you're basically engaging in practices that specifies that you cannot do that. You just don't piss off Microsoft. That is anti-compete, which is quite funny in the midst of all this consolidation fears and all of that. I see a lot of remarkable silence from the people who just like it's business, or this stupid argument. Oh well, but Square signed it too. I'm like, yeah. How do you think contracts work, you idiot? Of course, there's two parties to a contract. That doesn't mean, well, but why are you focusing on Sony? Well, the instigator that benefits from it obviously gets more of the focus. If it's going to be, and Square gets it all the time, like, well done. And then you cry about the poor performance, and then they come back with these conflicting statements like, we need to increase our reach and beyond Japan and broader and stuff. I'm like, you're routinely over a number of years engaged in behavior that and entered into these deals mutually to, remove a PlayStation from the equation. From Sony's side, you signed up to these deals, and it's fostered this culture. It's compounded with Microsoft's anemic attempts at many inconsistent attempts in Japan anyway, but it tried with the 360, had Lost Odyssey, and it had Blue Dragon. What's happening? What was happening then? Was Sony at that time entering into exclusive deals then? And because when Microsoft could have or starting to make inroads with a brand or a brand new one, they would have killed him off anyway and shuttered them away. What are the degrees? How long has this been happening? Is it still happening? Chances are most of us, even the blind PlayStation fanboys, will not argue like otherwise. They will say, they'll know. Well, they will say otherwise, but they'll know deep down this is Sony's modus operandi. They will work that way. So what's going to happen? It depends on are we expecting now any regulatory authority, any court, or any kind of independent, or just any judicial body to take into action into it? No, I don't know. I doubt it. There was obviously some mobilization, at least orally, in Congress about this. Letters were written, but what does that mean? I think that's just an extension of Microsoft's lobbying efforts and trying to scare Sony and say right, this, if you want to play dirty, we can then show all the dirt on your end and really make you look bad. But yeah,
I mean, a lot of people have been saying that for a long time, that Xbox should kind of get the gloves off at some point and also do more aggressive moves. They always try to play the nice guy, I don't think it's good for the industry as a whole, and it's always what I look at. Is it good for us gamers? Is it good for the industry to do deals like that? I mean, I get that exclusivity is a thing in gaming. It always has been. Since its inception, publishers and platform holders have made exclusive deals with certain platforms. This is different, though, because it specifically pinpoints one particular competitor. So, Dutch, what do you think?
Is that what with regard specifically what
to Sony's behavior and the contract thing that.
At this point, I don't put it past them. Yes, there are, and this is another thing people keep putting up again, over and over again. It's like everybody has these exclusivity. This isn't just exclusivity deals. This is exclusionary. This is specifically exclusionary terms, not exclusivity. This isn't. It's a timed thing. You have to work with us first, and then platforms in the future can get them after a certain period of time.
Yeah,
Microsoft haven't had complete exclusionary deals. They haven't had any terminology in their contracts that say you can never ever work with Sony or Nintendo. That's not what Microsoft have. Yes, they've had timed exclusives. Yes, they've said you can't put it on this for a limited amount of time. Of course they did. Timed exclusives are part and parcel of the industry and always will be. And so far as to say that the CMA have even said themselves in their original findings with regards to consoles, we don't even see that as kind of encroaching on anything. We kind of see that as part and parcel of the industry, that everybody has timed exclusivity deals, and we wouldn't be against Microsoft having timed exclusivity deals, even if that was for Call of Duty. That is, if it was their property, they would be fully within their rights to do so, and that wouldn't cause adverse effects on the competition, even for Call of Duty. But what it would be, and what the CMA and regulators have said regarding the deal, is with regards exclusionary terms. If you go out and specifically say that this game is never and you cannot work with any other platforms, that is anti-competitive. It is an anti-competitive and exclusionary term. So naturally, regulators will not look at that. Of course, they won't look at that. But you can absolutely guarantee if Sony were to make a large purchase, not a small one, a large purchase of billions going forwards, you can guarantee that Microsoft will absolutely not play easy ball like they did with Bungie. Because I guarantee when they acquired Bungie, and everybody should know this by now, they have went to all of the same competitors, Nintendo, Xbox, Nvidia, all of the big guys, and they would have asked the same questions that they've asked competitors with regards to the Activision Blizzard takeover. The difference is, of course, none of them had any issues with it because they were like, yeah, it doesn't harm us in the slightest, so go for it. We don't care. And they also knew that Bungie had a stipulation themselves, like the only way we are going to be acquired is if we remain independent. Otherwise, forget it. That's essentially the only reason Bungie agreed to being acquired in the first place, which is why they left Activision, which is why they left Microsoft.
Yeah.
They want to remain independent, and that is what they are. They're independent, but owned by Sony. This is the terminology used here by Sony. At this point, yeah, I don't put it past them at all, to be honest, for doing such a thing. But you can guarantee going forward with any large transactions that they would make with regards to acquisitions, Microsoft and others will absolutely point out the hypocrisy in some of their statements and actions.
Mm-hmm.
Agree. All right, guys. Our show is already running for almost 2.5 hours, so I think we should get to our end segment. Guys, at the end of the show, we always come to the segment that we call the community questions, because if you cannot make it live to our podcast, you can still write in questions or topics you would like us to discuss. Usually on Wednesdays, we collect them on Twitter, on Xbox, on our Discord server, or directly here on YouTube. And as every week, a lot of people wrote in. And the first question, guys, comes from Dave Ramos, who's also in the chat, by the way. I've seen you, dude. He says, guess if you were a Mortal Kombat character and irreparable harm was your finishing move, what would that be?
Irreparable harm was my finishing move. What would my my finishing move be?
Yeah.
What kind of... Who is that? Who raised that question?
Dave.
Right.
Dave Ramos.
Okay,
yeah.
stay away from you there. What kind of weird question is that? It's a good question though. Irreparable harm. My fatality would be approving this CMA, the ABK merger. That would be irreparable. For the ponies.
For the ponies, indeed. Indeed. Approved. So Mads, actually, oh man, we need to get Mads back on the show. He asks, why do you invite Xbox haters to your show?
I don't know. It's a pony podcast.
There you go. There you go. So now I got a good one from Sith Lord. He says, "Oh boy, guess or daily on the show. Bring the sauce. Speaking of sauce, what kind of sauce is your favorite?" He's a big fan of barbecue sauce.
Hot sauce, actually. I love my hot sauce. Like really, I'm into sauce all the time. If you actually go to like good restaurants, the best thing that makes food taste good from shit food is actually usually the sauce is good.
Yeah.
So like me and my chick were out, we're like, the sauce is dank, and she's like, oh god, say it. You love just saying it. It's the sauce. It's always about the sauce. But I love my hot sauce, man.
Sweet.
I love not sweet hot sauce.
So I know. I know. Dude, I love hot sauce too. I actually grow my own chilies in my garden, and I make.
Do you?
Yeah, I do make my own hot sauce. So I'm with you there.
I might do that in the future.
Yeah, I can bring you something when we meet at Gamescom, man. Boxenberger made hot sauce.
Oh shit! As long as it's not your cum, I'm on it.
No, it's actually a real chili sauce.
Oh man.
So Dutch, how are you feeling about sauce?
Well, hot sauce. Yeah, I'm a fan of hot sauce. No, no, it's what finishing moves are we still talking about here, or just hot sauces?
Oh, we're talking about favorite sauce.
Favorite sauce. Oh God, that's a good one.
I'll fight you.
No. Being a Dutch guy, I love friet sauce, which is just chip sauce essentially. That's awesome. But also, and aside from mayo, because I'm Dutch, we do love mayo.
Yeah,
you can't take it away from us.
Dude, I lived in the Netherlands for about a year, and it's amazing how many different kind of mayos there's. In every restaurant, you get mayo in all kinds of flavors, and it's weird. It's a mayo country, man.
Truffle mayo is beautiful. Yeah, truffle mayo all day long. But also Jack Daniel's barbecue sauce, tremendous. Yeah.
Sweet. So Jacob Novik sends in a question. He asks a question: should Xbox create a God of War killer such as Killzone was promoted as a Halo killer and Drive Club as a Forza killer?
Because that worked out great for Drive Club and for Killzone. Who asked that question again? Who are these people?
Jacob Nowick wrote that question in.
It would be hard to create an IP that is as standout as God of War. Much as it is trying to create an IP that is as standout as Uncharted or The Last of Us or Gears of War or Halo. As much as Halo's took the flak, the figure point of Master Chief is still a very standout thing, as is Kratos. These are figureheads, and it takes a lot to get that. I feel that Xbox have already got one in the making in Senua, and I think Senua could be the standout, to be honest. It could be the pivotal moment when it comes to third-person action adventure games, essentially. And I think that route, I think Senua has the best chance of that, to be fair. I don't think they need to create a God of War. I think they have one in Senua.
I agree.
I do agree, and I don't think that it's particularly necessary to copy or try to copy a certain genre or type of game. Like we've also heard, like they need to have their own Uncharted or whatever. Just create your own great games. And in theory, the pipeline looks super excited. I'm super excited for Fable. I want to see this could be an amazing open world game. You already mentioned Hellblade has a lot of potential, and if you look at what was there in the foundation of State of Decay 2, honestly, I'm super excited for State of Decay 3. So they have the possibility at their hand to create something special on their own, and that's what God of War was. Yeah, especially the 2018 one. It was just something special. It doesn't have to be necessarily a God of War type of game what Xbox needs to create, but they have to create like these special games and moments in gaming. They have done that during the 360 generation with a couple of games, but yeah, that's what I'm hoping for, man. So we got a super chat coming in from Dave, actually. Thank you so much for the $10. He says, guys, as a person that can throw their voice, I imagine you can do a good impersonation. What's your best impersonation? Go watch the Community Indie Showcase, y'all. Yeah, definitely go watch the Community Indie Showcase. But yes, man, what's your best impersonation?
I don't know. Everyone says I sound like Stewie from Family Guy, so there's that. I don't know why I get that down. Sound like him. But I don't know. I'm not that good at impressions. I get down. Then maybe I can do that. I don't know. Freaking. I can do Michael Jackson. Another day no, I can't. I'm not that good at impressions. I don't know. That's a good question. I'll think about it. Maybe I can. Maybe I can.
Maybe. All right, guys. I think it's time to wrap this show up. Gas, man. It has been an absolute blast to have you on the show. It's always fun to chat with you, and it's just something. It was just an awesome show, man. So thank you for taking the time to come on here today, and let everyone know what you have coming up with Game On Daily and everything else you work on. So, yeah, tell.
Thank you, man. It was great fun. I'm absolutely shattered. So sorry if my energy levels are like. At one point, it was like super high. You could have thought I was snorting something, and then it was just like, and I need to eat something. Just because I just came back from work. But this was fun conversation, man. It was very cathartic.
Absolutely.
And just can't wait to meet you guys at Gamescom. That we just need to organize that.
We already have a group, so it's Dutch, Xbox Mike, and myself. But we add you, and then we send you the hotel. Hopefully, you can get close to it, because we have a great hotel in the Altstadt of Cologne, which is basically the party hub. So we have a lot of bars and clubs there around there.
Bro,
yeah. So.
And
we can walk to Gamescom. It's not that far. It's like literally why we chose the hotel.
Ooh, that's gonna be wicked. I'm there 100%. Just need to book it off with work, but I'm sure it'll be fine. It's in freaking August.
So we sent you all the details in the DMs, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be wicked. Thank you again. It's a great show. You keep it real here all the time, as always, with you two gents. It's very good nuanced conversation to balance all my bullshit, so it's really good. And I'm sorry it took so long to do it. I'm not doing many shows, but I owed it to you, man. It's been a very long time. I'm not going to be doing shows after this for a while because work is crazy, but you guys kill it, both of you. Dutch, keep doing what you're doing. You know I love all the shit you do, and the same with you, Boxenberger. Just keep going, and hope to have you guys on Go Live soon as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Always.
Just send me the invite a little bit more upfront than a day.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm terrible.
Okay,
I'm getting chased right now. I haven't even got my static fully armed up yet.
Yeah.
It's all right. I kind of get used to it by now, guys. It's just like 5 minutes beforehand. Are you free?
Yeah, I'm terrible. I'm so terrible.
No problem, man. No, appreciate. And by the way, if you don't know what Gas is doing, you can find all his links down there. To Game On Daily, of course, to the YouTube channel and his socials. So just click in the description of the show, and you will find everything. And Dutch, man, it's always a pleasure to host the show with you. So let people know what you have been working on, because, man, after the indie showcase, I know you took a little break.
Yeah, I had to be fair, of course, because I was on top of spending the best part of 100 hours plus on creating a showcase. I was also podcasting 3-4 times a week, so it was it was a lot to fit in. But yeah, had a break this week, of course, without our own podcast. So back to the grind next week. Podcasts return, but then a couple of months off. We'll be covering the showcases. It will be awesome. And then back at the start of August, we'll be getting everything together again for the next showcase. So they're the kind of key focal points there. Of course, another showcase in the works. Some awesome people lined up. And I can tell people here our first 4 guests. And of course, I'll announce more close to the date. So we have ACG already lined up as a creator that will appear on the next one. We have Miles Dompier, of course, lined up. We have Mr. Badbit from PS Trophy Room lined up. And Lord Cognito, of course, from Iron Lords, who was unable to do the first one, but is definitely able to do the second one. So, yes, already got 4 awesome creators. And, of course, making sure we get the balance right on creators that do multi-platform content, that do PlayStation content, Xbox content. So, it's good to have a good mix there, and of course, special guests underway and speaking to developers to get some new announcements and some first looks and some reveals again, like we did in the first one. So, yes, it's a lot of hard work, but it's the reactions and people enjoying it and widening people's massive backlogs of games that they've got on wish lists is exactly the purpose. So, looking forward to it. But it's been a blast, guys, as always. Great to see you, and I'm looking forward to eventually meeting you, because somehow managed to dodge yourself at like XO19 and previous showcases, even though I've still got a flyer from when you guys first started sitting there. I don't know how I've still got that, but I have. When you were giving away an Xbox Elite Series 2 when that launched. Remember that? I've still got that flyer from Game On Daily.
No way. Did you just come across that, by the way? Someone handed it over to you?
No, I had it. I must have met one of yous in passing or something, and I had that flyer.
Bro, because we were handing it. No.
Yep.
That would be so fucking crazy. We actually met and we didn't realize.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy.
That's crazy.
So yeah.
No,
so
man.
officially,
That'd be fuck. Oh shit. That means I would have handed it over to you.
yeah.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
We met. We touched tips. We didn't realize.
Yes, exactly. We will touch tips more firmly this time at Gamescom.
Yay!
Absolutely. Oh man. Okay, guys.
I also owe Boxy several beers because I was wrong about Forza.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we made a bet earlier this year that I said in January that I don't think Forza is gonna hit this 12-month window, and yeah, we placed a bet on who's buying first round.
For Gamescom.
Right?
We're gonna get lit. We're gonna get lit. It's gonna be so much fun. You don't understand how I'm so excited now. After E3 got cancelled, didn't even know how many people were turning. But now that I know you guys are there, I'm definitely going. Only because you guys are there. I'm just gonna be sick.
Awesome, man.
Yeah, fun.
It's gonna be amazing. All right, guys. So let me thank you, everyone in the chat who tuned in here today, live, of course. Super appreciated. Also, big thank you for all the super chats. This really appreciate the support. But I also want to shout out the people that listen on the podcast services around the globe, on Spotify, on Google Podcasts, or Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening. It's always great to see you guys tune in. We're gonna have an awesome guest next week as well. Can't really tell who, because he asked me to, because he says like 80% he can make it. So just wait with the announcement. So I'm gonna wait, but we will definitely be back next week. And up until then, do enjoy your gaming. A lot of cool games come out in the next couple of days. Benedict Fox, Star Wars, and for those who want to play Redfall, definitely. And yeah, I see you guys next week. And don't forget to game on.
Oh.